Welcome into Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. I'm Meghan Payton. Before we get into our Seahawks video today, I have some frustration I'd like to get out. It's very upsetting to see both the 49ers and the Rams in the NFC Championship this year. So if you're a little angry like me, you hate to see it, go join the Seahawks family here at Seahawks Today because we are talking all things Seahawks. We can complain about other teams. It's very fun here if you're a Seahawks fan. So go to youtube.com/Seahawks TV, click the big red button, and stay in the know with the best team in the NFC West. All right, guys, so we're doing our mailbag show today. If you're new here to Seahawks Today, this is what we do probably once a week where we ask you guys, hey, give us some questions. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We'll go through them. The only rules are you've got to ask before we do the show, and also you have to be subscribed to our channel. So we've got some fun off-season questions to talk about. Our first one coming in from Jose Sedano. #Seahawks. I know it's super early for this, but now that we know all the Seahawks 2022 opponents, what's a matchup that catches your eye? All right, so there is a few fun games to look at when we look at the opponents this year, but one game I'm looking forward to watching is the Seahawks versus the Chargers. They are taking on the Chargers in LA. Of course, we don't know the actual schedule yet. We just know the opponents. So I hope that this is like a Monday night or a Sunday night game because, I think Seahawks are going to do well against the Chargers. I know they've been improving with Justin Herbert. They've got a good team right now that's really uphill. I think they're on the right trajectory. But I do think Seahawks fans will travel well to this game. That's my hope because it would be really fun to see a lot of Seattle Seahawks fans in SoFi Stadium kind of making Justin Herbert a little nervous there, having to put his hands over his headphones. So I'm hoping that Seahawks kind of come up on top. But this is going to be a fun year, taking on the AFC West. They are also taking on the NFC South. And then, of course, they have a few other games. But, you know, the Chiefs, the Chargers, Lions, Bucks, Saints, those are their road opponent games. I think Bucks is going to be challenging. Chiefs is challenging. Saints are very up in the air with everything going on. Chargers, I think, will be a fun game to watch. That's what I'm putting on my calendar as soon as the schedule comes out. But before we get into more things that you guys want to know about, I have to go back to the Niners-Rams thing because it's just crazy that both of them are in the NFC Championship. So let's just quickly get our predictions in. Let's get our bets in for this weekend. I'm not saying who you want to win. I'm asking you who will win on Sunday. Go to the comments right now, type LA for Rams, or if you think the Niners will come up on top and head to the Super Bowl, go type SF for 49ers. All right, next question coming in from Landon Sands. #Seahawks, what will it take to be back in the playoffs? I don't think much, honestly. I know that this was a really rough year for Seattle, and a year that Seahawks fans aren't used to, quite frankly. But here are the three things that I think Seahawks need to do. Russell Wilson. I mean that in every way. Russell Wilson needs to be back. Russell Wilson needs to be playing well. No more injuries. We need old school Russ. So I think that's going to be a key factor into the Seahawks' success next season. Something we talk about a lot here on the show, better pass rush. This is, when you look at this defense, why was it struggling so much? The pass rush is what sticks out. So I think they can acquire some good guys, maybe in the draft, through free agency, maybe even a trade. A lot of the Seahawks guys, their contracts are, very loose. We don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to re-sign the guys on their current roster? But better pass rush, Russell Wilson, and of course, a topic that we love to talk about, offensive line improvement. Now, it was a little better this year than last year, I'd say that, but it still needs improvement. And a lot of those guys are technically free agents now. So we'll see what Seattle does there. But those are the three things I'd say are keys to a playoff return in 2022. I think the key pieces are there, though. I mean, especially if Russell Wilson stays, you've got some good foundations. Clearly, you got DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. I really hope they re-sign Rashad Penny. Quandre Diggs, please re-sign him. Bobby Wagner, I'd say give him another year. He's too good. Jordan Brooks, another player that's going to, I just think, get better and better. They've got some great guys, and that's just a few of them. So the key pieces are there. We just need to improve upon some other things and, get everyone healthy again. But I want to take just a moment real quickly to tell you guys, Seahawks might be out of the playoffs as we look ahead to the NFC and AFC Championship weekend. You might want to get some bets in. Right now, there's a great deal going on over at BetUS. If you guys go to chatsports.com/bet, use the promo code Seahawks125. You're going to get 125% deposit bonus. So let's get some votes in. Let's get some bets in. You can bet on Super Bowl odds. You can bet on some fun prop bets. Ton of different options. Get this because you're going to get $125 of free money. You can do whatever you want with it. Bet on it however you'd like. Doesn't matter. If you don't even want to bet on football, you can try basketball, hockey. I don't care what you bet on. Just make sure you guys are using the sports book at BetUS. All right, next up, we've got Isaac Barkley. If Russell Wilson leaves, who do you think will replace him? Real quickly, I just got to say this too. I've seen some of you guys in the comments say that I want Russell Wilson to leave. That is the furthest thing from the truth. Russell Wilson needs to stay in Seattle, and I would love him to. And my gut feeling is that he is going to. But in the case, Isaac says, if he does leave, I do think Seahawks will probably draft someone. Now, we've talked about what's going to happen if they actually were to go through with the trade with Russell. They're going to get a first-round draft pick. They're going to get a couple, probably, honestly, 3 first-round draft picks. So they're going to be very open to, very high choices as far as quarterback goes. So we've talked about the 2022 quarterback prospects, Matt Corral, Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, Carson Strong, and Sam Howell. We just did a video on Sam Howell, so make sure you go check that out if you missed it. But I do think Matt Corral would probably be their best option. Maybe Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, those 3. But I also could see them trading for Kirk Cousins. Now, I'm not saying I'm a huge fan of this. I'm saying I could see them doing that because they might want to draft a guy, but also have a veteran in the locker room just to help them maybe through a year deal. But I don't know if Kirk Cousins is going to be up for 1 year left on a contract. So Kirk Cousins, again, an average quarterback, nothing, he's not a dominant Russell Wilson, but he's also not awful. He had over 4,000 yards this year, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, though. So if they are in a situation where Russell Wilson is not coming back, that's my prediction, is that they probably draft a guy and then they try to figure out a trade. Maybe it's not Kirk Cousins, but it's going to be a quarterback that I think is similar to his caliber. It's not going to be Aaron Rodgers, and it's not going to be anyone else that you're super excited about, if we're being honest. So I'll ask you guys this. If Russ is traded, which I hope not, how do you want him replaced? Do you think they should replace Russell Wilson by drafting a guy, or do you think that they should replace him in free agency? Go to the comments right now, type D for draft, F for free agency, or if you want to throw out trade, you can go type T for trade in the comments. All right, but this is why you guys subscribe to Seahawks Today, because there's a lot going on around Seattle. This is a fun offseason because there's a lot of change that I think is going to happen. We still got to figure out the defensive coordinator situation, Russell's situation, Quandre Diggs, Bobby Wagner. The list could go on and on. So make sure you guys are subscribed here so you don't miss out on anything. We'll be the first to let you guys know. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss when we post a new video. All right, next question from CBK Hawk. Hashtag Seahawks. Seahawks re-sign Quandre Diggs, 4 years, $50 million, and trade Chris Carson a 2nd, a 4th, and a 7th round pick to the Chiefs for a 1st. All right, let's just look at this real quickly before we answer that. He wants the Seahawks to re-sign Quandre Diggs. I'm all about that. He wants Chris Carson. You trade Chris Carson for a 2nd, a 4th, and a 7th for a Chiefs 1st. I just don't see the Chiefs taking that deal. We talk about Chris Carson. I do believe that Chris Carson will get healthy and will still be a good running back in this league, but I still think that other teams aren't going to want to bet on him. I don't think that the Chiefs, with their situation, really need Chris Carson. I think that they have it pretty good over there, Kansas City, and so he's not going to be worth much, and I don't think the Chiefs are going to want to get rid of their 1st-round pick, quite frankly. Chris Carson, when he was playing, 54 carries, 232 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a long of 33. I'd like to see Chris Carson back and healthy. We'll have more answers about, his future once we see how he does and recovers from his injury that he had to get surgery on his neck. Now, the big question mark, and when we talk injuries, is Quandre Diggs, and they need to re-sign Quandre Diggs. I am going to say that until it happens. I hate to see that he got hurt the way he did. It was so unfortunate for him. You could tell the teammates were hurting, but he's really proved his point. And again, something else we talked about on one of our shows was what Quandre Diggs has done for the Seahawks and why he does deserve to get paid. He had 94 tackles this year. He had 5 interceptions, 7 pass breakups, 1 tackle for loss. So I think you keep Quandre Diggs, you make sure you figure out a way to pay him, and you make sure he's on your roster in 2022. All right, Benjamin G17. Should Seattle trade for Darius Slay and sign Stephon Gilmore in free agency? That's a good question. So you wouldn't do both. I'd probably choose one or the other. So let's just look real quickly at Darius Slay and Stephon Gilmore. Stephon Gilmore only played 8 games this year. Meanwhile, Darius Slay played 16. So these stats are, very misleading. You can't really get a full picture on them. But I do think that Stephon Gilmore is, when he's healthy, a better player than Darius Slay. Darius Slay is also really good, but I would rather Gilmore on the roster. You look at, what they did. Sure, you can maybe take a peek at some of these, just completion percentage going up against these quarterbacks. They had a 68.2 completion percentage while going, against, or receivers did, against Stephon Gilmore, and 61.1 against Darius Slay. I'm taking Gilmore. I like Darius Slay, wouldn't be opposed to it, but if I had to choose, I'm picking Stephon Gilmore. I'll ask you guys, though, who would you rather? Would you rather Darius Slay? If so, type S in the comments. Or if you're going to ride the Gilmore train with me, type G in the comments for Gilmore. All right, last question we have on our mailbag show today is from Zane Martin, #Seahawks. Why didn't we see much from Stone Forsythe this season? Was he good at all when he played, and will he play a role for the team next season? So we didn't see much from Stone Forsythe this year at all, but that's because he wasn't really a starter. We had obviously Brandon Shell playing, and when he got hurt, then we saw Forsythe go. And he only had 14 snaps, I believe, this year. He had a 68.1 overall PFF grade. Meanwhile, his pass blocking grade was 74.3 PFF, pretty good. So you look at this depth chart. He played at right tackle when Brandon Shell was hurt. He's really naturally a left tackle, though. So could he be the future if Dwayne Brown retired? Would they maybe want to bring him up there? That could be the case. I think that he definitely has potential. It's just too soon to tell. We didn't get to see enough from him this season, and also he was playing at right tackle, so I don't think that that's a proper evaluation. But still, we know that he did decent in pass blocking, and I'd say probably about average just overall with a 68.1 PFF grade. Of course, these are more things that we'll keep you guys updated with, because this offensive line room has to get figured out, and has to get figured out very soon. So if you guys have more questions for us right now, here's your chance. If you want to be on our next mailbag show, go to the comments and use #Seahawks. Ask us whatever you'd like. You do have to be subscribed. So that's youtube.com/Seahawks TV. We check this. So your question will not get in if you're not subscribed. So make sure you are tuning in to everything going around Seattle.